Downtown Reimagined is a major infrastructure and streetscape revitalization initiative led by the Town of Grimsby. The project focuses on renewing aging underground infrastructure and transforming the downtown core into a vibrant, pedestrian priority destination. Guided by a new vision for Main Street East and West, Downtown Reimagined aims to create a safe and accessible environment that encourages social interaction, supports local commerce, and celebrates Grimsby's small-town character and heritage. We hope together we can create a downtown for long-term economic vitality and community growth. The town has partnered with consultants who are industry experts to implement this project. We have been working in collaboration with the Downtown BIA, the Grimsby Chamber of Commerce, and the Niagara region. As the town prepares for construction beginning in 2026, this presentation is intended to update you on the progress of the detailed design and to showcase what we will be building. The visioning phase culminated in the creation of a conceptual design, and we have built on what we heard from you to create the current design. The following slides will walk you through the updated proposed phasing and timing of the downtown project and explain how access to storefronts will be maintained throughout the work. There will be an emphasis on communication throughout the remaining design and construction phases, and we will outline how and when information will be shared as details are finalized. We want to hear considerations from businesses so the town can address what matters most as construction planning moves into its final stages. During the visioning phase, we heard some really great feedback from businesses and the public. There was a lot of positive input with respect to improvements which should be considered. We also heard some concerns about things like availability of parking and traffic congestion. Some of the overarching themes we heard include the importance of improving the overall pedestrian experience. We heard strong support for a mid-block pedestrian crossing between Ontario and Mountain Street, ways we could enhance the streetscaping that would be complementary to the historic character of our downtown. The importance of these improvements in helping supporting the long-term health and prosperity of our downtown, and the need for the town to develop a strategy to help guide how we should be handling vehicle parking as the downtown continues to evolve. There were various outcomes from the visioning exercise. The town completed a traffic analysis for the area so we could better understand traffic patterns. We undertook a strategic parking management study, which helped us understand the current and future demands for parking. We developed a conceptual plan to help incorporate elements of the public's vision, including creating a larger pedestrian space, narrowing the roadway to slow traffic and provide a more pedestrian-friendly feel, building a new mid-block pedestrian crossing, introducing new flexible boulevard space, which could be converted back and forth between parking space and pedestrian space, depending upon the need, and refreshing the streetscape by adding more trees and gardens, replacing the streetlights, benches, bike racks, and so on. As we moved into the design phase, we have had many opportunities to collaborate with our downtown business partners. If I could sum up the general sentiment, people are really excited to deliver the vision, but they are also concerned with the impact construction will have on their businesses. We have heard a lot of feedback with respect to the scheduling of the construction. Earlier this year, the consensus seemed to be to do the work during the summer, and that it was important for us to stay away from the Christmas season. However, more recently we have heard that the summer would be challenging and that we should avoid summer construction altogether. Some of the themes we have heard include we should consider extended project hours, including around-the-clock or nighttime work, concerns about how we will be managing traffic, parking, and pedestrians, and questions about how businesses will be kept accessible, how their patrons will access their businesses, how deliveries will be received, and so on. Building off your feedback, we wanted to update you on our progress and show you how that feedback has been incorporated into our work. The town has hired a professional design consultant to lead this project, who have experience in managing projects of this scope. With their support, we have now reached the 60% milestone in the overall design and are on target to put the project out for pricing early in the new year. Through that process, we have developed staging plans to support how we see the work being constructed, including how traffic and pedestrian flow and access to businesses will be maintained, how and when nighttime work will be facilitated, what types of signage will be used, things like vehicle detours, pedestrian wayfinding signs, and businesses open signage, and finally, the overall project staging, which we will talk about on the next slide. The town has also made some significant financial commitments to this project, including a $9.1 million project budget commitment and a $1.9 million government grant for the water main component. We have also committed additional funding towards a further phase of a parking study to action some of the recommendations that came out of the previous phases of that study. We also been collaborating very closely with the DBIA through the process. We meet with representatives numerous times per month in various capacities, whether it be the BIA Construction Task Force, communications team meetings, or smaller one-on-one meetings to discuss progress and strategies. Through that partnership, we have now hired a communications consultant, Gestalt Communications, for the project, who will be helping us develop and deliver a comprehensive communications and marketing strategy as we move into and through construction. An important update for us to communicate with you this morning is the decision we have made with respect to our project schedule. This decision was made based on what we've heard from you and what we believe will best support a successful outcome for the downtown businesses and the community at large. We are adjusting the construction timeline to take place in 2 phases rather than 1. This new phasing approach is designed to better balance the technical, traffic, and business needs of the project. We will be focused on completing the bulk of the underground work in 2026 in the area outside of the core, on Main Street between Christie and Elm. In 2027, we will then complete the work inside the core area. The main benefit we see in this approach comes in how we will be managing traffic. The new approach allows us to organize the work to help maintain traffic flow through the area more efficiently and minimize disruption for businesses and residents. It enables a more strategic rollout of the most sensitive work in the downtown core, with flexibility to adapt to seasonal needs, business operations, and feedback from stakeholders. This also allows us to fine-tune specific timing and sequencing of construction in ways that respond meaningfully to concerns raised by businesses. We'll walk through each of these phases in more detail later in this presentation, and we welcome your feedback during our discussion session. There are several key risks we have and will be managing as we move through the project. In terms of scheduling, utilizing 2-phase approach will allow us to minimize these risks by isolating disruptions to smaller zones and shorter timeframes. The way we are staging the work will allow us to maintain dedicated customer routes to ensure access is maintained to the storefronts. The staging approach also allows us to keep the work zones smaller, refined to specific areas, which gives us greater ability to keep the traffic flowing to the parking lots. We have done a lot of pre-investigative work to locate underground infrastructure ahead of time, which will help limit finding unknowns when we start digging up the road. Phasing the work gives the town more time to refine the road design, helping limit scope changes during construction, which can cause delays and become more costly. Breaking the work out into 2 smaller phases means the scope of each phase will be more manageable for the successful contractor. It also allows the town to have closer oversight on the contractor's progress so we can make adjustments as needed, adjust throughout the project. The grant deadline requires us to complete the water main work by October 2026. Phasing the work allows us to specifically focus on the grant-funded component in 2026 to ensure we meet the target deadlines. Now, we would like to walk you through some of the key design features associated with the road construction. This work will be taking place with the core area of downtown on Main Street between Christie Street and just east of Elm Street. Our focus today will be on the landscaping and streetscaping features in this area. As this is a regional roadway, the design will continue to be refined in consultation with the Niagara region. This first slide shows the area of Main Street between Christie Street on the left and Ontario Street on the right. We have carried forward a similar road cross-section as was shown in the conceptual plan. We have taken the existing roadway that could accommodate 2 parking lanes and 2 travel lanes and converted it to a 2-lane roadway and moved some of the parking onto the boulevards. Narrowing the cross-section like this allows us to create additional pedestrian space within the boulevards and will also help to calm traffic moving through the downtown. This is eastern section of the work at the intersections of Main, Ontario, and Elm Streets. One of the changes between the concept plan and the present design is the absence of bike lanes at the intersection of Main and Elm. The ultimate plan is to provide some form of dedicated bicycle facilities along Elm Street, whether that be on-street bicycle lanes or and off-street multi-use pathway. While the town will continue to explore how best to accommodate the bike facilities on Elm Street, the section of Main Street is currently too narrow to provide either bike lanes or a pathway, without acquiring additional lands. Therefore, we decided to exclude bike facilities on Main Street in the current design and look to add cycling facilities as a future improvement. This slide here shows the new road cross-section we will be building. This particular area is showing where the flexible parking is being provided. We are using a minimum lane width of 3.5 meters for a total road width of 7.0 meters. This is a bit narrower than the town's standard road width of 8.5 meters. The flexible space design will allow the boulevards to be converted from parking space to pedestrian amenity space for things like patios based on need. The town heard a lot of positive feedback during the visioning exercise about the need for a mid-block pedestrian crossing somewhere between Ontario and Christie. Here we are showing what a pedestrian crossing could look like on Main Street. Please keep in mind that the town and the region are still in the process of evaluating whether or not a pedestrian crossing can be supported at this location and looking at its specific features. As you can see from the images, the location selected is in close proximity to the existing overhead downtown archway. This location was selected as it is centrally located between Christie and Ontario, and it aligns with 2 existing alleyways on the north and south sides of the road. We are hoping this location will help improve pedestrian accessibility from the rear parking lots to the businesses located on either side of Main Street. One of the key goals in our design is to improve pedestrian accessibility, comfort, and safety. With these goals in mind, we are proposing changes which would make some significant improvements to the pedestrian space around the intersections. We have been able to pull the curbs in tighter to provide wider space for pedestrians. We are also proposing to provide traffic bollards around the intersection corners to help protect pedestrians from turning vehicles. At the Ontario Street intersection, we have been able to pull the stop bars and pedestrian crossing further away from the building fronts, allowing stopped vehicles to see approaching pedestrians. This is an issue with the existing intersection that we are trying to improve upon, turning our focus to the flexible spaces. By moving parked vehicles onto the boulevard, we will now have the ability to turn this space back over to the pedestrian realm at different times. We can see it being used in warmer weather to support patios and turned back over for parking uses in the colder months, but ultimately this could evolve over time. The pictures here show how this space would function in the different scenarios. We have also provided a rendering that shows what this might look like in Grimsby. Another focus for our team was considering how we could use different materials and colors on some of the ground surfaces to help animate the space. The town and the region are currently exploring the potential for using stamped asphalt materials as part of the road surface. Landscaping and greenery are other key features that we are trying to incorporate into our design to help enhance the character of the area. Raised planting beds will help provide safe and sustainable space for vegetation to grow. Similarly, we will be planting new trees with decorative tree grates and tree guards and cages to help support their growth without damage. We are specifically looking to plant native species which are known to be resilient in an urban setting, to help foster the growth of these trees to their maturity. One of the other new features we are looking to add to the area is wayfinding signage. We are still in the early phases of determining what that signage could look like, but we have provided a few images to show you some initial ideas. We are considering some form of a business directory sign and possibly a community message board placed at a couple of key locations. These will also be supported by trailblazing signage, which will help point people in the direction of some key landmarks in the area. We are also looking at using some form of ground plaques with imprinted street names. This will support the overall wayfinding strategy, but also serves as a bit of a unique design feature within our downtown. Another cool feature that we were looking to incorporate is the idea of providing standardized building address and business signage. As these features will be affixed to the actual buildings, we would need the building owner's support to implement this idea, and we look forward to exploring this opportunity further as we move through the design. Some of the other features that we are looking to incorporate into the design include replacing our existing streetlights with brand new decorative lighting. The new light poles will include the ability to include decorative banners, hanging planters, as well as seasonal lighting. We will also be looking at traffic bollards with built-in lighting. This will help activate the space in the evening while at the same time providing additional safety for pedestrians. We are also looking at the possibility of including public Wi-Fi on the street and possibly a sound system which will allow us to provide ambient music in the area. We have reached the 60% milestone of the engineering design package, which consists of approximately 40 detailed design drawings, including all of the underground water main and sewage works, both storm and sanitary, and the above-ground streetscaping features within the core area that we just went over. We are planning to complete the Phase 1 design package within the next couple of months, at which point we will tender the project, sending it out for competitive contractor bids. Tendering the contract early in 2026 will allow us to secure better pricing for the upcoming construction season. Phase 1 will consist of the water main sewer work outside the core downtown area. The next few slides we will be showing you how we see the work being staged. We will begin with Phase 1 works in 2026, which are located outside of the core downtown area. Please keep in mind the successful contractor is ultimately responsible for scheduling how this work happens and will likely be able to stage the work more efficiently than we are showing. With that said, we wanted to show you how we think the work will occur to help inform businesses ahead of time and obtain your feedback. During this phase of the project, we anticipate a minimum of 2 construction crews being needed. The contractor will need to complete 2 water main crossings under 40 Mile Creek. As these crossings require a different construction method, called horizontal directional drilling, it will require a specialized construction crew to be on site. This method will require the contractor to occupy a set area over an extended period of time in order to drill, assemble, and lay the new water main pipe. A second crew will also be on site to complete the more traditional open-cut installation method. This involves ground being excavated, a new pipe being installed, and the ground being backfilled afterwards. During the open-cut method, the contractor will be moving along the alignment of the new water main as they install the water main pipe length by pipe length. We are showing here that the drilling operation on Elm Street should be able to be completed while maintaining 2 lanes of traffic. The open-cut crew on Rossmore will likely be using flagpersons to control the flow of traffic in one direction at a time. In the next stage, we see the directional drilling crew moving over to the Main Street Creek crossing, while the second crew moves over to Elm Street to do the open-cut water main installation in the areas on either side of the creek. The contractor is expected to accommodate 2-way traffic on Elm Street during this work. The approach to the work on this area of Main Street will be a little different. Given the road is a bit narrower here, we are proposing to limit a one-way flow of traffic in the eastbound direction towards downtown. Westbound traffic heading out of downtown will be detoured onto Elm Street and back to Main Street and Livingston Avenue on the other side of the construction zone. From there, we see the open-cut crew moving easterly on Elm Street towards downtown. There will be extensive work required within the intersection of Mountain and Elm, as there is a water main crossing in both the north-south direction and the east-west direction at this location. We don't think it's possible to maintain traffic flow through the intersection while the work is being performed. The approach we see here is to have the work performed overnight while the intersection is fully closed to traffic. We expect that this will occur over a period of a few nights, with the road being reopened to traffic during the daytime. This approach will help limit the impact on traffic and keep traffic flowing to businesses. As the contractor moves easterly on Elm Street, the road should be wide enough to allow them to complete their work while maintaining 2 lanes of traffic. We see intersection of Main and Elm requiring another nighttime closure due to multiple water main crossings in this area. Again, this would occur over the course of a few nights, with the road being reopened during the daytime to allow normal traffic flows. As they move easterly along Main Street, the road narrows, so we expect we would use a one-way traffic setup again. This time, we would detour the westbound traffic heading into downtown using Robinson, John, and Ontario streets. Eastbound traffic would still be able to operate through the construction site. The section of Main Street between Christie and Patton would require the open-cut crew to maintain one-way traffic, similar to how the traffic was managed during the drilling work. We have shown this work occurring later in the project. However, the contractor may elect to do this work at the same time as the directional drilling work. Either way, we see the traffic setup being the same. One of the most challenging areas for us to construct is the section of Mountain Street between Elm and Main. In this area, the road is narrower and also involves both underground water main and sanitary sewer works. Also, the property services to both the water main and the sanitary sewer will need to be replaced, and these services span the entire width of the roadway and boulevard. Mountain Street is also a heavily traveled route for both cars and heavy trucks. When all of these factors are taken into consideration, we do not feel it will be feasible for the contractor to maintain traffic flow through the construction area while the work is being performed. We feel the safest and most efficient approach here will be to close the road to both directions of travel. Given the scope of work here, we anticipate the work being completed over a longer duration of time. Our initial thoughts are somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 to 5 weeks. During the closure, we will need to incorporate localized detours, but we are also considering establishing a separate detour route for truck traffic, which will help avoid large trucks trying to navigate through the downtown. The contractor will need to maintain pedestrian access to each of the businesses on Mountain Street, and we will be working closely with the businesses on this section of road to make sure we are able to support them through this phase of the work. We see the intersection of Main, Mountain, and Christie requiring another nighttime closure due to multiple water main connections. Again, this would carried out over a few nights while reopening the road to normal traffic during the daytime. The last section of water main in Phase 1 is located on Christie Street north of Main Street. The width of the road here should allow the work to be completed while 2 lanes of traffic are maintained. We anticipate that we will need to close the southbound left turn lane from Christie onto Main Street during this stage. This will likely require us to restrict left turn movements onto Main Street in order for us to keep the traffic flowing. We would therefore need to consider implementing a local detour in order to bring those left turn movements down to the Elm Street intersection instead. Now we will be switching to the Phase 2 works, which will be occurring in 2027. We are recommending that work be completed in 2 stages. Given the scope of work here, we believe the best approach for these stages is to close the roadway to through traffic completely. The approach we will be walking you through is very similar to what was employed for roadworks on Ferry Street in Niagara Falls, as well as in Paris, Ontario, for their downtown work. The second stage of the 2027 construction work will be at the intersection of Main and Elm. Again, the road would be closed to traffic here, and detour routes would help direct vehicles to the businesses on either side of the closure. The next few slides show how we are proposing to manage the construction work while ensuring pedestrian traffic is maintained to the businesses at all times. The first step, what we are calling Stage 1A, we're proposing to use fencing to separate the pedestrians from the construction work. During this stage, the contractor will be given control over the central portion of the roadway, while pedestrian corridors will be maintained up against the building fronts on either side of the road. The green areas shows where the pedestrian access points will be, while the yellow shows the construction zones. This method of staging the work has been used at other projects with similar settings. The picture on the bottom right is from Paris, Ontario, which was completed using a similar approach. Stage 1B will shift the contractor's work area to the north side of the roadway. Pedestrian traffic will be handled in the area where the new road surface has been placed, along with the southern boulevard. Pedestrian accesses for businesses on the north side of the road will be provided via temporary access ramps. Essentially, there will be fully accessible bridges through the construction site to allow pedestrian flow, while separating them from the construction equipment using fencing. In Stage 1C, we will be flipping the construction work to the south side of the road. At this stage, a lot of the work on the north side of the road will be complete. This will allow the new boulevards to be used to access the businesses. Similar to the previous stage, pedestrian corridors or bridges will be used to connect pedestrians to the fronts of the businesses on the south side of the road, while the contractor is working in that area. We have provided a picture here as an example of what these bridges might look like. Once the bulk of the work is complete in Stage 1, the road will then be reopened to traffic. The contractor will then turn their focus to Stage 2 at the Elm Street intersection. Similar to Stage 1, this work would be broken into 3 substages. Work will begin in the center of the road with pedestrian accesses maintained on the outside of the roadway. They will then move to one side of the roadway, followed by the other side of the roadway, using the same staging techniques as during Stage 1. The project team will be working collectively to develop and implement a detailed communication and marketing strategy throughout the construction. Some of the items we will be focusing on include construction signage. We will work to make sure signage is clear, visible, and strategically placed to guide pedestrians and drivers to open businesses. Mailouts will be used periodically to mail to reach every household and business. We will also be developing a targeted community outreach program to promote Downtown is Open messaging across our public spaces. We will also be coordinating with GPS platform providers like Google Maps and Waze to ensure real-time updates keep people moving and avoid confusion. Local and regional newspaper ads will be used to run consistent ads and updates in order to reach wider audiences and reinforce that Grimsby businesses are open. We also expect the BIA to organize various events to continue to draw people downtown, even during construction. The project team is using the town's Let's Talk Grimsby webpage as a central hub for project information. Everything from design documents to updated timelines will be posted on a regular basis. This is intended to be an interactive space where people can provide feedback, answer surveys, and be part of shaping the overall experience. We see a monthly email newsletter being used to update on progress and project milestones, telling people what's coming up next, and providing quick links to resources. Council meetings will be used to provide more formal updates to the community, publicly helping ensure accountability. Social media will be used actively while ensuring messaging from the town, the BIA, and our partners are aligned, keeping the information flowing fast and wide. The next section of the presentation is dedicated to hearing your feedback. To help guide the discussion, we have categorized things into a series of themes. The first theme is around staging, phasing, and sequencing of the work. We would like to know if the approach we presented makes sense from the perspective of a business operator. Is there any part of the timing that you would like further clarity about? Is there anything we can do to help you better visualize how the work will progress? Construction impacts and business operations. Are there any operational considerations we need to be mindful of during construction? Are there any site-specific issues near your property that we should be aware of? When thinking about access, parking, and customer flow, what matters most to you for your day-to-day operations? Business support measures. What types of signs and wayfinding measures would help your customers find and reach your business? Are there any particular times of the day, week, or year when unhindered access is crucial for your business? What communications assets or other support do you need to connect and engage with your customers during construction? And what practical types of support would help your customers navigate during construction while still feeling welcome and valued in downtown Grimsby? Communications expectations. What types of information or updates are most valuable to you as construction progresses? What communications strategies or platforms would help you feel well-informed throughout the construction project? What channels of communication do you most prefer? For example, emails, updates through the project page, scheduled bulletins, social media updates, or direct outreach? Any other thoughts? What other aspects or ideas related to this project are on your mind? Are there any concerns or suggestions you have that may have not been covered in this presentation? Do you have any other questions or do you need further clarification on any project details? This concludes our presentation. We welcome your feedback and encourage you to visit our project page at Let's Talk Grimsby Downtown Reimagined Construction. Hit the subscribe button to receive immediate updates as the project page is updated. Here you will also find contact information for the project team. You can reach out to the team with your questions and feedback by emailing grimsbydtr@cima.ca.